operation of medium-sized sheet-fed presses can be understood by studying the operating mechanisms of the major press components or systems. The major press systems are the paper feeding system, the registration system, the inking system, the dampening system, the printing system, and the sheet delivery system. The feeding system feeds paper to the register system. The register system accurately positions each sheet before it moves to the printing unit. The printing or image transfer system consists of 3 cylinders: plate, blanket, and impression. The plate cylinder transfers the image to be printed onto a rubber blanket. The sheet travels under pressure between the rubber blanket cylinder and impression cylinder. During this operation, the image is transferred from the rubber blanket to the paper. The plate dampening system applies moisture to the plate. This moisture adheres to non-image areas on the plate and prevents inking of non-image areas. The inking system applies ink to the plate. Since moisture is retained on the non-image areas of the plate, the ink only adheres to the image areas. The delivery system takes the printed sheet from the printing unit and delivers it to the top of the stack of printed sheets. Use the scale on the feed board to set the paper side guides so that the paper stack will be 1/8 inch to the left of center. To adjust the press feeding system, place the feed board in position. Check the setting of the springs which help separate sheets and prevent the feeding of double sheets. Check the sheet separating air blast nozzles for position and volume of air blast. Set the control that regulates the height of the paper stack. Turn off air suction to any suction feet which do not contact the sheet being fed into the press. Regulate the amount of suction for the type of paper being fed. Set the tilt of the sucker bar for the type of paper being fed. Load the paper in the press feeder. Force air between the sheets to separate any that might be stuck together. And raise the feed board into position. Setting the register system involves setting the multiple sheet detectors which prevent feeding more than one sheet to the printing unit at one time. Set the detectors so that one sheet can move freely while 2 will bind. Sheet smoothers are set to guide the sheet along the feed board. These smoothers keep the sheet from riding too high and prevent corners of the sheet from turning up and causing misfeeds. The side guide is positioned so that the sheet can travel past it freely and still push the sheet approximately 1/8 inch. All the sheet headstops should be backed away from contact with the sheet, except for one near the outer edge of each side of the sheet. For accurate registration from sheet to sheet, as a sheet is fed through the press, it must stop in positive contact with the head stops. The side guide must contact and evenly push the side of the sheet. Feed several sheets through the press to check the accuracy of the adjustments. If the paper does not feed smoothly and accurately through the press, it will be necessary to determine the cause before continuing to set up the press. Raise the plastic cylinder guard so the press can be inched slightly forward or reversed. This allows the cylinders to be packed easily. Moving the lever position allows a change in the direction the press inches. Each of the 3 cylinders in the printing unit must be packed according to the manufacturer's specifications. The impression cylinder is packed by measuring the thickness of the metal jacket plus one of the sheets to be printed. Insert additional packing under the metal jacket to total 52 thousandths of an inch. The metal jacket is adjusted to snugly conform to the cylinder, and it is tightened with a ratchet. It is necessary to read the micrometer correctly in order to accurately measure packing. The packing is placed under the metal jacket, but not in the clamp. The blanket is installed on the blanket cylinder and tightened. The thickness of the blanket plus packing must total 124 thousandths of an inch. Packing and blanket are inserted under the head clamp. Only the blanket is inserted under the tail clamp. The plate is installed on the plate cylinder and tightened. Packing is inserted under the head clamp, but only the plate is inserted under the tail clamp. The plate plus packing must measure 21 thousandths of an inch. Tighten and adjust the plate to hug the plate cylinder snugly.
Get back over in there.
To prepare the dampening system, pour the fountain solution mixture into the solution tray. Jog the press until the water ductor roller is against the water fountain roller. Turn the hand wheel until the ductor roller is charged with fountain solution. Run the press to distribute the moisture to the water form rollers. Run additional moisture until the form rollers are damp enough to keep the plate moist in the non-printing areas. Set the volume of water flow to the water form rollers by setting the scale on the operator side of the press. To operate the inking system, raise the ink fountain blade and lock it in position. Put ink in the ink fountain. Adjust the fountain keys to obtain an even ink flow. Jog the press until the ink ductor roller contacts the ink fountain roller. Allow the press to run until enough ink is on the ink form rollers. Set the rate of ink flow by adjusting the scale on the operator side of the press. Use the scale on the delivery table to set the sheet side joggers to the size of the sheet being printed. Set the back sheet stop for the size of the sheet being printed. Adjust the gripper release cam for a final fine adjustment. And run the press to check the delivery settings. After the press has been set up, the job can be printed. Set the dampening control lever to automatic operation. Set the ink control lever to automatic operation. Move the ink lever slide to offset. Move the main operating control lever to run. Move the main operating control lever to paper to feed paper. Move the main operating control lever to impression to print on the sheet. Stop the press and check the printed sheets for position, register, and ink coverage. If everything is okay, print the job. When the press run is complete, remove the water fountain. Lock off the water form rollers. Move the ink lever slide to wash-up position. Remove ink from the ink fountain. Use solvent to clean the ink rollers. Insert the cleanup attachment and run the press until the rollers are clean. Remove the cleanup attachment and turn off the main power supply. Inks and solvents should be disposed of according to federal and state guidelines. The operating controls. The main power control turns the power to the press on and off. The 4-position main operating control stops the press in the stop position. It starts the press in the run position. It begins feeding paper in the paper feed position. And it causes the press to print in the impression position. The forward and reverse inching lever is activated when the plastic cylinder guard is raised. Inching direction is changed by moving a lever on the operator side of the press. When the machine is on impression, it can be stopped by tripping the levers located near the impression counter and under the feed table. The machine stops automatically when the delivery board reaches the floor. The tripped lever must be repositioned to start the machine again. The main operating control lever must be moved to stop before the machine can be restarted. The machine will stop automatically when the sheets do not reach the front guide if the mechanical cutout is in the raised position. There are two cutouts. The one on the operating side of the press is raised, and the one on the non-operating side is down unless two small sheets are being fed at one time. In emergencies, the machine can be stopped quickly with the main operating lever. By raising the lever behind the water fountain ductor, by reversing the inching direction lever, or by turning off the power supply control. The machine will not operate if the delivery guard safety is not in position. The press may be turned by hand by releasing the brake and turning the flywheel. Proper safety procedures are important in all industrial operations. Safety regulations should be followed at all times. Safety hazards are present when equipment is operating. Horseplay should not be permitted around machinery. Gears, belts, and nip points should be guarded. Press covers should be left in place on the press. Loose clothing and jewelry should not be worn around the press. Long hair can get caught in moving parts. Operators should keep clear of moving mechanisms. Stop the press if dangerous adjustments must be made. Cleanup rags should not be used near moving parts. A machine should not be turned on until everyone in the work area has been warned. Unauthorized personnel must not be permitted to operate equipment. Be wary of electrical hazards. Remove all tools and spare parts before turning equipment on, and please work safely.